Did you know that there are free websites you can use to get hundreds of dollars in Fiverr sales each day?
Yeah, boy.
So he saw this increase. As soon as he started doing the technique of using these websites, this 335 clicks in the last 7 days on his one gig. As a new Fiverr seller, it can feel like you're getting absolutely nowhere and that you'll never be able to stand out from the crowd with all that competition. Well, with this step-by-step guide, you'll learn how I was able to make $800 without a single Fiverr review, and how you can quickly get your sales up without reviews, without spending money, and using a few unknown websites. But before we get ahead of ourselves here, if you would like to make a full-time income from your couch and you're interested in videos about making money on the internet and building an online business, consider clicking the subscribe button below and turning on notifications. Oh, and on top of Fiverr, at the end of this video, I'll be sharing with you one website you can use to make even more money. Okay, there are a few steps to this, but here's a brief overview. First, we're going to go over how to get an endless flow of Fiverr reviews without making a single sale, and on top of that, how you can steal and reverse engineer these top performing gigs. Second, we're going to use a tool to create as many images as possible, showing some case studies. I'm going to show you how to make up those case studies, or how to just document them and find and source case studies. Next, conduct topic research using a two-step process. So we're going to be finding keywords and just finding topics that are trending so that we can ride on those coattails. Next, a copy and paste format for writing Fiverr product listings that make millions, right? It sounds a little sensational, but it's true. There's a specific format that the top performing Fiverr listings and Fiverr gigs use that there's a good chance yours might not be. Next, websites to use to get more sales. These are those external sites that I mentioned in the beginning. And then last but not least, 2 to 5xing your Fiverr earnings overnight. Okay, so let's just get right into the first step here. Number 1. Offer review copies in all relevant Facebook groups. What I mean by this is join Facebook groups that are relevant to your niche, right? Not everyone will be the same, but for me, it would be something like the proper SEO group, any make money online groups, ClickFunnels, right? Because what I was offering on Fiverr was 2 different SEO services. Yours would likely be different. So let's say you're doing video editing or graphic design, look for groups within those niches. Very simple. Oh, and if you do already have a Fiverr profile, or once you create it, add your username below in the comments and be sure to add what you're offering. It's some free promotion for you. It's a business related channel, so there's a good chance you can get some customers. Just make sure you don't add your URL because it will get flagged. If you're offering something for free, then there's a really good chance you'll be allowed to post. Now, you'll have to work out the specifics with the people, right? Whether that means you're going to pay them in advance the $5 or you refund them the money. In order to do that, you're going to have to talk with people. That's the only downside to this, is it may take you a little bit, but trust me, that review, just even a single review, is worth its weight in gold. And alternatively, people do sell them, but I'm not going to get into any of that black hat stuff. And also, Fiverr, you can join different Fiverr groups to exchange review copies. So you can check that out on top of the groups within your niche. Now, onto ethically stealing top performing gigs. So here's what I mean by that, right? So let's say I wanted a logo, or let's say I want to sell a logo service. What I would do is I would look through and identify the top ranked gigs, but I want to disqualify anything, right? I want to basically find any anomalies. Fiverr's search algorithm holds a lot of weight on reviews, but also, if you see here, right, studio. So we want to try to find outliers. Again, 4 reviews, 1 review, 3 reviews, but studio. So we want to try to find Fiverr gigs that are most similar to ours. And to do that, basically, we want to look for very plain listings that have very minimal reviews. Here is the main outlier here. So as you see, 100, 130, 1,000 plus. Here is the outlier. This I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. This gig is the outlier. So what we want to do now is we'll copy this, and we're going to use this exact title and then reword their about. Now, a little bit later on, like I said, we're going to get into actually writing product listings that sell and the most common correlations among high performing product listings, but we have a starting point here, and we're basically just going to copy this. Same thing with all of the I forget what these are called, packages, I guess, I'm not sure. Same thing here. We want to replicate. For this, we can really just use the same, right? We can use the same specific product details, but yeah, we want to, when we're looking to reverse engineer, we want to look at their about, the specifics of each individual offer, and then, last but not least, the images. If you see here, they have one eye-catchy image. After that, a assortment, right? A collage of different logos that they've done. This is exactly what I would recommend then. I would recommend literally don't reinvent the wheel, just replicate but don't steal. So make a first, just replicate this, right? Go to your top listing and replicate what they're doing. A main one, collage, and you don't necessarily have to have made all these. I would tell you that there's a 98% chance that these aren't all her logos. For the most part, I've noticed people on Fiverr do that. So being that is like the meta, for example, like these are jobs that she did. Or let's say you want to create your own. All you have to do, create an image 550 by 370, go to canva.com. It's a free graphic design tool, web-based, and that's it. Literally 550 by 370, and just copy what you see the highest rated or top ranking gigs are doing. So maybe that means putting together a collage like that. But for the most part, people are just taking other pictures, so you don't need to have completed these jobs to be able to use the image. Next, okay, so we got here. Okay, now this is one factor I didn't include. I would recommend, to give you an edge, taking a picture of your setup, of you near your setup, if possible. People want to also hire people or buy your gig based off of you, right? They don't want to just, if you, right, stand out from the crowd by showing yourself, you have a much higher chance of getting sales. So if you can, and if you're open to it, add a picture after, of course, the product images of yourself or of your setup of where you work on these logos. Next step on this checklist, search for your main keyword, identify irregularities. So we looked at this already. We went over that step. Now we're going to go through this. We're going through this quickly, but so step 4, copy and paste to format to writing copy that sells. This is the general format for all Facebook ad copy that does well. We're going to use a very watered down version of this and adopt that for our product listing. So we want to create a compelling hook. So welcome to my modern minimalist and luxury logo design gig. So for your first hook, you want to say something including your main keyword. So as you see, hers are modern minimal basic logo design. Odds are that is what people are searching for and why she's doing so well. So keep that in mind, right? She's ranked among them, and she is focused on minimalist and luxury logos. So you may want to include those keywords. Look at those too, right? When you're identifying irregularities, look at additional variations of your focus keyword, and keep a note of that so that you can then conduct some more research. Maybe you want to adjust your gig entirely to be strictly focused on something like this. So I would, even though she is the top performing listing, there are definitely, she could reword this and make it much more sales focused. So what I would do is, if I was creating this, the compelling hook, now we'll go back to this, position the problem. So here's where I would say something about the fact that logos, minimalistic logos, are incredibly expensive, and if they're not expensive, they're usually not done correctly. So I'm positioning the problem. Then You don't have to propose the opposition because this isn't exactly an ad. And then connect your story. So just talk a little bit, very, very briefly about what you're doing, but mainly how it relates to them. Don't just talk like here. As an energetic, hardworking, skilled designer of logo design, I wouldn't even, nobody cares, trust me. What you want to do is talk about how what you're doing is going to better influence them. It could be as simple as, with my experience, you can count on the fact that I will turn your dreams and make your ideas or your creative vision a reality, and there won't be miscommunication, right? Something along the lines of that, where you're speaking on yourself, but at the same time you're also talking how it's going to help them. And then that's really it. It's a Fiverr gig. You don't have to go too crazy. I would definitely recommend adding this, like she did this, right? Why choose me? Have a bulleted list. People love reading, just skimming through. Have a money back guarantee and limited revisions. Great community. So yeah, after that, it's pretty straightforward. Then last but not least, it's just the 2 to 5xing your Fiverr earnings overnight. For something like this, it is a little bit risky. So I don't feel super confident saying to try this to everyone, but if you're brand new and if you don't really have a lot of history on your Fiverr profile, there's not a huge risk. Alternatively, if you are working with somebody and you have been for a while, this is where it could get a little bit less of a risk. I buy a lot on Fiverr, and I've had Fiverr sellers frequently will offer to go off of Fiverr and offer me a discount, right? Because Fiverr takes a huge cut. So we split that difference of the Fiverr cuts, like 30%, and I can make an extra 15 to 20% on every single gig that I sell. Effectively, I can almost 2 to 3x what I'm earning almost overnight, right? Just by something so simple as that, because now not only am I getting more, but there's a good chance that the person that I'm selling to will purchase more. So what you want to do for that is do not do this in Fiverr messages. Go off of Fiverr. If you're working on a project for them, feel free to write it like on a Google Doc, on a note, a text doc if you want to send that to them. Or if you are working on something where you can just write, then like a note on, I would suggest doing that. And then lastly, offer 1 gig to them, like for the initial foot in the door where you bring this topic up. Offer 1 gig to them for 50% off. Your goal there is, like I said, getting your foot in the door. Once you get somebody to agree to that, to get off of Fiverr, now for months to come, because depending on what your gig is, there's a good chance there's going to be recurring buyers. So for months to come, you now can get off of Fiverr, don't have to pay the Fiverr fees, and get your money instantly, right? Now for the most important part of this video, how I was able to use external websites to make these sales. So just to show you, 784 net income. I withdrew a very scary number and then used $100 for other just random purchases. I've had to recently cancel a bunch of gigs because I just don't have time anymore. But so here's what you're going to want to do. So here's one. What I can do is just in the resources doc below, I'll add all these links. But basically, you're going to create a variety of free profiles like this, and you'll understand why in a second. So just to give you an idea, right? The method that I used was about a year ago or so. But there's a guy who just recently used this and shared his results as a kind of case study. This was his results after doing slightly different, but a similar technique as the one that I'm about to show you. His cost money, so there's that, but the one I'm about to show you is free. So he saw this increase. As soon as he started doing the technique of using these websites, this 335 clicks in the last 7 days on his 1 gig. That's crazy. So here's what it is. You're going to use sites like this. So here's one. These are Google sites. Another is using a fake, free blogger account. Next, Quora. You want to set profiles up with all these. Last but not least, you're going to want to set up a steemit.com profile. So there's also actually a added benefit to this. You can get paid for all the posts you share. But yeah, you're creating all of these with the main focus of Fiverr SEO. Now, don't get all weirded out and caught up. Don't just close out yet, because it's not that simple. It's not that dry. What we're doing is we're going to be getting our listings more impressions on Fiverr. But on top of that, like let me show you. On top of that, right, he's now ranked in Google. The eventual goal is to rank without terms like Fiverr. But as you see, literally just using a technique like this, not only now is he limited to Fiverr, but anytime somebody, the end goal at least, the end goal is anytime somebody searches check email list accurate or email list verification, his listing will come up and he can even get more jobs that way. But that's just supplemental. My main point here is that all of these external profiles pointing back to your Fiverr gig help it in Fiverr search. So when you set up these profiles, so like let's say for example we're going to set this up, and let's say I'm pretending like I'm this girl, right? So modern minimalist or luxury logo design. So what I would do is I would take my focus modern minimalist. I'll take my focus keyword here, and all I'm doing is I'm optimizing content for my focus keyword on external websites, right? So you'll notice there's only one major drawback to this. So we want to add text. So I would, for something like this, my name is X and I offer, just literally like you're just you can even vocalize this. Just pretend like you're talking to somebody and telling them about your listing. I offer a logo design service on Fiverr. Your only goal here is to write about 100 to 200 words so that this site gets indexed in Google, so that it does have that benefit, because that's going to be your only hurdle, is getting this Google site actually indexed in Google search. Same thing with Blogger, same thing with Steemit. When you do write these posts, focus them all on the same topic: modern minimalist -- luxury logo design. And within your content, right, X and I offer a logo design service. When you link out to your gig, so that's what we want to do next. Okay, so there's only one thing now. You want to add your link to each individual profile, but make sure you remove everything after the question mark. And if you're not sure, just double check by copying what you've deleted, paste it in here. So now we have the root URL, and you're just going to add that in here to your Google site. You're going to add that to your core profile, to your Blogger account, to your Steemit. And for each of these, you're just going to write a variation of what you wrote on the Google site. Post once about modern minimalist -- luxury logo design on all the sites that are in the resources doc. And then once you do that, now create a Google Doc that has a list of all of these. So here's what I mean. So just as an added kind of measure to make sure this works, go to page setup, page color, custom. This is up to you, but this is just what I do. Just looks a little bit better because you are trying to drive traffic to this. Let's do landscape. Now you want to make it look somewhat presentable, but for the most part, all you're doing here is you're creating a directory. Once you're here, you want to add all of the links to your main profiles. So your Quora, your Google site, your Blogger account, your Steemit, if you use all of the resources in the doc, so your Tumblr, everything, all those free profiles, add them all to this Google Doc. And once you're complete with that, now just go to share. Just name it your focus keyword, get shareable link, more, public on the web. So now you copy this link and you go on Quora. Now you go on Quora, search your focus keyword. What are some great minimalist logos? Go through all of these. This is the only time consuming part of this task. And start answering these questions with a link back to your resources doc. Make sure you do provide some context, so letting people know, hey, if you need any information or check out this document that has a list of different minimalist logo. And your goal with this is literally just getting traffic. You're not going to really get sales off of something like this. But with these free profiles, lately with Google, it's become a little bit more difficult to get them indexed. So with traffic, it's a lot easier. And it's a lot easier to actually have a benefit from them when they are indexed in Google. So with Quora, being that it's such easy, cheap, free traffic, you're just trying to get clicks to these links and then to the links in between so that you can just start indexing them on Google. And as a side, another added benefit is that you may get some sales from it. Let me see though. So stats. So just so you can see, right, in the last 30 days, I haven't answered a question in months. I've had 1,000 views on my answers. So that's just to give you an example of how powerful Quora is answering questions. Again, I answered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, and I had 1,000 views in this last month doing that work. Now, a lot of these websites, they work, but the problem is that you need to really juggle 10 to 20 of them just to make even like a part-time income. There is one website that I would choose, that I recommend to everyone that I meet that is looking to make money online. There's one that I would choose if I had to start all over again, and I was looking for the fastest way to go from $0 to $10,000 per month. This is the website, and I'm going to be sharing that with you in a second. But before that, before I got to the point of having my own office, being where I am today, working my own hours, I was working a 9 to 5, right? In the Florida heat, like I live in Florida, and I was working in the heat in a Tyvek suit doing manual labor, working with fiberglass. I hated it. Not only was I just like physically hating it, right, coming home covered in fiberglass dust, but every day, right, Sunday nights were the worst, thinking about waking up, and every day waking up, the repetition, it was just mind-numbing. It went on, and that same thing went on for so long. If I just look back and wish I could just shake myself. It went on for so long until I finally tried to make some money online, right? I wanted to give it a shot. Well, I wound up failing over and over. And I thought really everybody was lying. There's no way that this actually works. I was at my wit's end, and I didn't think this worked. I thought everybody was renting stuff and faked it all. But when I finally met a few of the guys who I consider some of my closest friends today, that is when everything changed. Since then, I wake up when I want, not covered in fiberglass. We live in a condo right on the beach, and I can spend as much time with my family as I want. And again, that changed when I finally started listening to people who had what I wanted. Years ago, though, before this, we were spending an entire year. We were renting a room in a house with 3 other roommates. They're a bit older. They love to drink and smoke quite a bit, which attracted a very shady audience. It just made life difficult, right? All those people there going in my kitchen in the morning, it was just uncomfortable, and obviously sleeping normal hours was out. So with that negative experience, before I got to where I am today, we had a conversation. I spoke to my wife and asked her, now that I'm at the point of making this full-time passive income thing, now that I'm here, where would you want to live if you could pick anywhere? And she picked the beach, and that's where we're living now. We went from that tiny apartment to living in a condo that is literally 4 times the size of that full thing just for us. At this point, right where I am today, I can honestly say that I'm in a mindset, and every day has been millions and light years ahead of anywhere where I've ever been in my life, right? I'm at a point where I feel free. I don't feel anxiety like I did. Obviously not every day is just the, sunshine and daisies, but for the most part, when you look at it compared to my previous, it's incredible. I'm living a life where I can literally just grab my laptop, work from wherever I want, whenever I want. And so that's what I want to share with you, right? If you want to learn how to create a full-time passive income online. I know this sounds buzzwordy, but just don't tune it out because of that. Where you can make money literally while you sleep, while you travel, or whatever you want to do, right? Play video games. I don't care. Whatever you want to do, if you would like to do that, check out the link below in the video description, and I'll be sharing with you exactly how you can do that. But if you'd like to just stick to the simplicity of it all, feel free, no pressure. Check out my free YouTube videos. Consider clicking that subscribe button below. Like this video if you got any value from it, and let me know in the comments what you thought.